post-surgery, intimacy was pretty much non-existent, really. And I think that that's mostly a partner thing as well. I think a lot of it comes down to your partner not wanting to hurt you. In the lead up to my surgery, I had a full heart study, which is like an angiogram, and I had the biggest bruise you've ever seen on my leg. It was huge, massive. And my partner at the time just didn't want to come anywhere near me, didn't want to hurt me in any way. So it was just left. But all forms of intimacy and, including cuddling on the couch and things like that were just left. And post-surgery even more so. You're worried about, I'm assuming, you worry about cuddling a person and hurting them. So we just didn't go in near each other for a long time, and we didn't communicate about it either. And as much as I try and communicate my physical limitations, what I can and can't do, it was just easier to leave it. And when you leave it completely and when you don't talk about it, that's when you stop talking about other things as well. And then the relationship fell apart from there. As soon as communication stops, everything stops.
Well, when I had my surgery 4 years ago, give or take, and when I was going through, there was a couple of years in the lead up to that. I was having annual checkups. I was fortunate that I was with my now husband, James. So we've been together over 10 years, and he was the absolute rock beside me, going through all that. He was there, and I didn't have to navigate a lot of the things that some people might have to navigate around dating and dealing with that medical cloud and dealing with very real health challenges. Because I was with James, and we were great. We were married about a year. It was about 8 months before I had my heart surgery. So it was very present through the time of our relationships, early days, and navigating intimacy and all that after heart surgery. It's a lot easier when you're with your husband as opposed to being out on the dating scene, I'd imagine. I can't speak for that because that's not what I experienced. But I know for me at times it was really, I felt like my husband got a bad deal sometimes with me medically, but he's reassured me many times otherwise that he has no regrets in that department or anything like that, but also that he thinks the challenges we've had to face have made us stronger and much stronger as a couple as well through everything we've had to face medically. So, yeah, I'm pretty lucky like that.
When it comes to intimacy, it has been a challenge, a very big challenge, because more me, that I am really very much focused on what my heart rate is doing all the time. So I have been for a long time unwilling to do anything because I don't want the heart rate to flare up. And you talk to medical professionals and my medical team, and they've said there's no risk, there's not an issue, but it's a mental thing of I don't want to make my heart rate go up high and then create a problem. Even though for almost a year after the ablations, nothing has happened. So, not a thing has gone wrong. But for some reason in my head, it's nope, that's a potential risk. Not doing it.
It can be challenging, but it's not. I don't think it's completely irrational. We know, and we didn't know early in the piece. We sort of touched on that. The medical team said initially, go on with your normal life. We don't know what it is, but also we've got no reason to suspect you'll have more problems. Goes back to playing netball, got through 10 minutes of the first game and the defibrillator goes off. But, we've since learnt that sort of exercise and stress is a trigger for Emma's condition. As she said, thankfully she hasn't had any episodes for over a year now, and hopefully it stays that way. But it is a risk factor. It is an issue, and I don't know. There's an easy answer for solving the intimacy thing.
But I think for a lot, when you said before, a lot of it is because we were both really struggling. It was like built a wall up between both of us, and neither of us were willing to communicate and do anything because you look after yourself. And so I think there was a lot of we have to solve that part first before we sort things out. What's the word? Intimately? What's the word?
Yeah,
That
intimately.
word.
We'll go with that.
Intimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really apprehensive for a lot of my teenage years of what it would be like when I first had sex and what a partner would feel like when I had to sort of say, look, I've got a scar and I probably won't be able to keep up because it'll be really difficult for me. And that made me really apprehensive. And I think sex generally probably makes teenagers anxious, especially as a woman. But to have that further complication, I always felt, would I be rejected? Would that change things? Would that mean that I would be less attractive to someone? And that really played on my mind for a long time.
You always talk to your friends. I talk to my sisters. But beyond that, it was within our marriage that we dealt with it. You get medical advice after you've had heart surgery around what to do, what not to do, what to avoid. And there's certainly guidance in that framework. But beyond that, it was just more me and my husband just trying to navigate it all together, I suppose.
My advice would be to talk about everything, no matter how small and irrelevant you think it is. It's probably not irrelevant. If you're worried about hugging your partner, tell your partner that you're worried about hugging them. If you're worried about, them lying on you on the couch or something, then tell them. If you're worried about, something happening during sex, then ask them if they're up for it. Ask them if they're comfortable. Tell them you still want them. Talk your way through all of the small things, the insignificant things, because they're not insignificant at all. Everyone just wants to be loved and held, I think. So keep that going.